we combat that?
Well, that division is very deep. Um, the division between Americans. There really are two countries right now. If you look at it from, we can talk about all the different issues that we talk about every day and the different opinions that everybody has, but it's way, way deeper than that now, because we've had decades of influence that have divided the country into two different political philosophies. And you could pick out certain key indications of that, like if you ask what is the definition of freedom to people, some people will say, well, I want to be free to live my life as I choose. I want to associate with whoever I want. I want to work wherever I want. I want to go to a market and buy whatever I want. I just want to be free to do the things I want to do. And they see that as a legitimate definition of freedom. There's an opposite group in the country who thinks of freedom very differently, where they want to be free from all the bad things that could happen. They want to be free from running out of food. They want to be free from homelessness. They want to be free from not having a job guaranteed for them. They want life handed to them, and that way they'll feel free. They're free of the burdens of having to provide for themselves. Well, when you think about it, it's hard to reconcile those two things. If you've got the country split in two on just that issue, there's no common ground between those two thoughts, because to say you want to be free from is to say you want to be free from the opposite group who's defining freedom differently. And it's going to be an inherent deep conflict in the country. Another deep conflict is, what is the nature of government? What is its purpose? And there's a group of people who would think, well, I want to live in a free society. I want to be safe. And therefore, the purpose of government is to ensure safety and ensure that the Constitution is followed, ensure that the laws that come from that Constitution are followed, and that my right to proceed as a free and sovereign individual is protected. So that's one definition of what the purpose of government is. But there's a whole different perception of what that definition is, and it's a very orchestrated view of the government has to be very active in trying to solve all the ills of society, has to solve all the historical ills, has to solve every person's personal problem somehow. And so that view of government is actually fundamentally opposed to the concept of freedom, because in order to do that, it has to have a tremendous amount of power and a tremendous amount of money and a tremendous amount of control over society to resolve all those things. So the group of people who want to just have the government protect their freedoms, is going to run headlong into the group of people who want to use the government to solve every other problem. And so, again, that's another fundamental divide where there's no middle ground. There's no coming together of those groups. And then even at a much deeper level, the question of who owns you. And the people who believe in freedom and individual sovereignty would say very clearly, I own myself and I own the things that my hands and mind produce. The opposite side would say, well, no, you don't. You're a part of society. Society is responsible for all good, and you have to subsume your own life into what society wants you to do. You don't own your own life. Again, there's no middle ground between those two things. So just on those three questions alone, the divides are so deep in this country right now that my opinion is we're going to split into two countries at some point, because those two philosophies can't live side by side. And we see how they can't now, because we've become a country of two different sets of facts, two different histories, two different ways to solve problems. We're no matter how you think about it, we're really two different countries right now, and we're just fighting each other over it. And I think at some point there's going to be a realization that the only way to solve this fight, this eternal battle, this difference of opinion on everything, is to go our separate ways.